Hey you guys, this is the Kaizen Man welcoming you to the Kaizen Project, and the topic of today's video is chest and shoulder opening. As a yoga instructor, one of the biggest pain areas that I come across most often in people is in the shoulders and the chest area. And there's a host of reasons that lead to having rounded shoulders and improper alignment in this part of the body. One of the biggest reasons that leads to that is a lot of people in today's workforce are sitting at desks or working on laptops and computers, and what that leads to is having rounded shoulders, and it tends to hunch your upper back, and you're sitting working at the desk like this. So over time, your shoulders can get fixed in this problem, and you see a lot of times people's posture looks something like this. And the reason why this is an issue is over time, your body starts to adjust to this alignment, and it leads to a range of medical issues, some of which being your chest cavity actually collapses, so when you breathe in, your lungs don't have enough room to fully expand, which starts to cut off your oxygen supply. Having low oxygen supply leads to a drop in focus, a drop in productivity, and also slows down your metabolism. And if increasing your lung capacity is something you're interested in, you can go ahead and check the video out right here. Another medical issue that results from having rounded shoulders is it throws off the weight of your head. The average adult human head weighs about 10 pounds. It's a quite heavy thing to carry at the top of our body. And when we're in our proper alignment, the head sits and the weight is evenly distributed into our body. But when we're hunched forward, the head tends to lean forward, and what that does, it starts to cause strain on the upper back and neck area, and it can start to cause pain here, but also over time lead to spinal degeneration, which if left unchecked for a long time, can be irreversible. And another issue that leads from having rounded shoulders is seen as having poor posture, and having poor posture actually signals to your body that you're in a state of stress, and it releases cortisol into your bloodstream. Having more cortisol in your bloodstream negatively impacts your ability to deal with day-to-day challenges, which also then impacts your productivity. So there's a range of medical issues that are related with having rounded shoulders, and the purpose of today's video is twofold. The first is to give you an idea of where you are in your shoulder alignment today. And I'm going to give you a few exercises that you can do on your own time just to be able to benchmark and also track your progress as you become more open in the shoulders. The second goal for today's video is to give you some exercises which you can use to start to open up your chest, to give you more flexibility in your chest and shoulders, but also give you more range of motion in the shoulders. So just to give you a more open standing profile, so when you walk into a room, your posture is a lot better, but also you're going to be able to maintain good health over a long period of time. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first thing you want to do is stand with your feet about hip width apart, and then standing nice and straight, just let your arms hang by the side, and try not to change anything about your arms, just let them hang loose. Keep your wrists and everything neutral. And when you look down at your hands, you want to notice where your palms are facing and where your thumbs are facing. So ideally, you want to have your palms facing in towards your body, and you want to have your thumbs pointing straight out. That's an open position for the shoulders. Typically, the shoulders are rounded, and what that does is it gets your palms to face back towards the body and the thumbs to point in. So just without changing anything, just look down as you let your arms hang and notice where everything is hanging, and just make a mental note. That's step one. That's your first exercise to track where your shoulders are, and we're going to start to open them up in the course of this video. The second test for the shoulders is if you can link your arms up overhead. So you reach one arm up, bend at the elbow, and use the other hand to start to walk your fingers down the back. If you want to go a bit further, you can try and link your fingers behind. Now, a couple things to keep in mind here. When you're reaching back, you want to make sure that there's no pain in your shoulders. That's very important. The second thing is you want to make sure that your arm is not pushing your head forward. You can try to stand upright the whole time if you can. So that will give you an idea if you have the openness in your shoulder girdle and the chest to be able to link arms behind you. Bring one arm overhead, bend at the elbow with the opposite hand, press the back of the head into the upper arm, and then with the other hand begin to crawl the hand up the body as you interlace the fingers together. Notice where you are. And you want to try and do this on both sides as well. So do it with both arms.
And this exercise, preferably, you want to do it with the help of someone, because you'll oftentimes find that one side is a little bit easier to do this on than the other. And that's perfectly normal. Based on our lifestyle, we tend to have imbalances that are built into the body.
An exercise that you can use to measure how open you are in the chest is to lie down on your side. Now you can have your legs straight if you want, or you can bend at the knees. The important thing here to keep in mind is you want to have your hips and your chest facing to the side. You can rest your head on the bottom arm. You want to extend your top arm up towards the ceiling and start to look up at the arm. Now let the natural weight of your hand start to carry your arm further back behind you. Notice how far back your arm can naturally go. If you look up at your arm and it's straight up overhead, means your chest is quite tight. The further back your arm goes, the more open your chest muscles are. And this is a great way to safely benchmark your progress and see how you can improve on a day-to-day basis. You want to keep your arm in the same line of your shoulder here, so try not to let it go off to the side. You want to keep the wrist, elbow, and shoulders all in a straight line, and just allow the arm to fall back. And you want to do this on both sides as well. So do it on one side and then flip over to the other and measure where you are on both sides. And for the purpose of today's video, the muscles that we're going to focus on are three main muscle groups: your pecs, pec major, pec minor, the deltoids, and in the back you have the rhomboids. The rhomboids are an interior muscle that run right here, and they help to pull your shoulder blades front and back. So when you're standing with your arms extended all the way, that's your shoulder blades that are protracted, and then the rhomboids help to pull them back. And oftentimes, because the chest is a mirror muscle, we can see it in the mirror, we tend to have a lot of focus on it, we strengthen it. The rhomboids are muscles that we can't see, and it's typically weaker. What that means is the shoulder blades get pulled forward with a tight chest, but they don't have enough strength to be pulled back with the strength in the rhomboids. So we're going to look to open up the chest, open up the delts, but we're going to look to strengthen the rhomboids, the muscles in the back. So the first exercise that we're going to do to try and open up the chest and also strengthen the rhomboids is to use a strap. And you can use a broomstick even if you have. It doesn't matter what you use. Just make sure that you can grip it behind the back with your hands just outside of shoulder width apart. You want your palms facing towards the front. Standing with your feet just about hip width or a little bit wider if you want. What you want to start to do is first bring the shoulders down the back, away from the ears, and then start to extend the arms back behind you. And you'll notice right away that you start to feel a little bit of tightness in the chest, and also your body wants to compensate by leaning forward. So what you want to try and do is stand straight, keep your ears, shoulders, hips, knees, and heels all in a straight line, and then keep extending the arms back behind you. So you'll feel, from this exercise, you'll feel the opening in the chest muscles, but you also are strengthening the muscles in the back by being able to lift back behind you. And the second exercise to open up the shoulders, you can open up the strap here, and again, if you want to use a broomstick, you're more than welcome to do that. Keep your hands nice and wide here and begin to extend the arms up overhead. Notice where your shoulders start to feel tight, and you want to pull back about a half an inch or so and try and relax. Bring the shoulders down the back and keep extending the hands further back as you relax and feel more comfortable. Now you want to keep using your breath here. Use your inhales and then exhales to relax. Try and take the arms further back with each exhale. And again, if you feel any pain in your shoulders, that's something to be mindful of, and I would suggest backing away and just taking a little break. Eventually, as you get more and more open in the shoulders, you'll find that you can take the arms further back, and then you'll eventually start to have a full range of motion in the shoulder girdle. And that's really what we're going for to achieve. And again, don't try and get this the first day if you're not quite there. If you feel pain in the shoulders, just take a break and come back to it the next day. Pain in the joints is something to be mindful of, and I always suggest listen to your body and try not to push yourself. The third exercise that you can use to open up your shoulders, as I mentioned, is to work on the rhomboids, and you want to work on strengthening your rhomboids. Now the rhomboids are the muscles that pull your shoulder blades together. So you want to start by first squeezing your shoulder blades in towards each other, and then begin to lift your palms and your arms upward towards the ceiling. You want to rotate your arm bones so your shoulders are open, keep the shoulder blades squeezing together, And then begin to peel the head and chest off of the mat. You want to be careful, keep tucking your tailbone down to the ground so you're keeping space in the lower back. As you extend the arms further back behind you. Now, if you want, you can also use the strap like we did, and you can use the strap and keep pulling the hands apart as well. And this exercise will give you a lot of strength in the rhomboids, which then will pull your shoulder blades together, helping your chest be more open. And that's it for today's video. I hope that you got a lot of value out of that. And just to recap what we talked about, the first thing was the causes of having rounded shoulders, what that means in the long term, and also how you can track your progress in your journey of opening up your shoulders, and then the exercises that we mentioned as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any further questions, you can always leave a comment below. You can find me all across social media. Just use the hashtag, the Kaizen Projekt. Until next time, it's the Kaizen Man signing out.